What's up, everyone? This is Carlos here, and I haven't done enough of these videos, so I figured I'd better get myself in front of a camera. It's Friday, why not? I'm feeling kind of playful anyway, so hope you appreciate it, and I hope you dig what I have to talk about. So today I want to talk about push button feedback, and what I mean is pushing hot buttons and getting feedback. And I made a post not too long ago that I posted to my own group, and then I posted it in a really wicked group that you should be a member of, the Cult of Copy. If you're not, if you're into psychology, if you're into copywriting, I think it's more about persuasion and influence more than anything, and what people put into words. But I think it works just as well in just conversational talk. So, with that being said, what I posted was an interesting exchange that I had with somebody, the potential client that I was speaking with from Upwork, one of those freelancing sites. And in the past, Upwork's been like phenomenal for me to get like a bigger ticket clients. I mean, in the 4-figure and 5-figure range. But for whatever reason, I do take, I take different deals depending on, what my current needs are, what is available, what I can readily grab, whether or not I want to work with a client. But this particular client was offering me something, or he had something, not offering me anything. He had something on the table for like between $200 and $500, and we chatted. We talked and we had a conversation, and I was like, yeah, man, I felt like we had a good exchange, a good vibe. And the dude, we agreed on a number, $300 plus. He wanted to like split the fees, and I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. I'm willing to just get into it with him. And I had a genuinely good vibe about it. And he was like, cool, I'll set this thing up. Long story short, the next, after we spoke, nothing happened, nothing came of it. And the next day I reached out to him, no response. The very next day after that, I reached out to him again, and I was like, hey, what's going on here? And then finally, my third time, I was like, should I just consider this removed? Because I do believe in follow-up. And I got that from my sales training, just being a salesman. That's worked for me. But it was annoying, when you don't get when you don't get response or feedback. And I feel like that happens a lot more today than ever in, I don't know, like societally. And I know the younger you tend to be, the more likely you are to get the brush off. I feel like older people respect you a little bit more in that regard. Like they'll at least reply, "Oh, hey, I've been busy," or something like that. So I'm 37, and I respect that sort of consideration. And this guy didn't, so I was annoyed. Finally, on the day that we were supposed to start doing something, or actually I was supposed to actually have it done by then. He responds to me. He's like, "All right, you ready?" And I'm like, "What?" I was just so annoyed. And then he's like, "Oh, and by the way, can you throw this in there?" And this is up to interpretation. And this is actually what I wanted feedback on. And I was so amazed that I got the feedback. The guy was just like, "Can you just throw this in the price?" And I was like, "No, I don't do that because of work." I called it work creep. Some people refer to it as scope creep. Some people call it project creep. And that basically just refers to adding more work for not more pay, right? Like extending the scope of the project or the scope of the work that you agreed to. And I got back a response that was like, "Oh, I feel insulted. I'm so pissed off." And I was just like, "What?" So I didn't mean to insult the dude. I was just trying to give him feedback. And I guess the use of the term work creep, the fact that we didn't talk verbally, or on camera or in face to face, maybe the fact that it was on the texting thing on Skype, it pissed him off, and he blew off. And I just left him. The last thing I left him was like, he said I was insulted. He left me a rant, and I was just like, all right. So I took a screenshot of it because I was just like, man, did I really piss this guy off, or am I crazy? Because I didn't feel like I did, but apparently I did. But and then I wanted to get feedback from others that might have had some insight into or input into this. But I got more feedback than I expected, and some of the feedback was like, whoa, like it was totally Colin calls it galvanizing, right? Like you just got responses all over the board. And it really got people fired up. And I was just like, wow, I thought, I thought it might be a hot topic, but I wasn't sure. And at the same time, I did want feedback to see whether or not I was kind of missing something. But it told me a lot more than just that. The part of the problem that I think it posed was the dollar amount that was in question was a very low ticket dollar amount. It was for $300. So first and foremost, I wanted to see how people felt about that. I normally don't go for lower gigs myself, but I'm open to them. Like, I don't think it's smart to just close off your profit potential and or networking potential, referral potential by simply limiting your dollar amount. But it can be. I guess, that's something I got to consider. However, this particular gig, I didn't give a fuck about, because it was like, he's not really paying too much, and he's asking for more work. So this is a bad sign. So my reply was a little curt, like, no, man. Some people, the people that were giving me feedback, there were some people there that we're not friends, but I respect their opinions. There's some people that are just simply straight up shitheads, like lurkers and hecklers. I'm a heckler by nature, so I know how that can be, but it's usually some sort of like defensive posturing. And then there's some people that I don't know why we're not friends. Like, I dig what they have to say. Maybe we started off on the wrong foot or whatever. But I just thought I'd put it out there because I wanted to see what people said. And some people believe that my response was unprofessional. And I think that's something to consider, but it's definitely subjective. Like, I think you can be how you want nowadays. I'm starting to see more and more how, Colin talks about this, but how you can pretty much find your audience on social media more easy. It's easier than ever to find the people that will gravitate to you, that will simply, that can prove profitable to you if you do this right. So professional is a subjective term. It's very abstract, and it means something different to different people. Some people said that I thought I was the shit by posting that it was like, I think I'm a baller. I ain't a baller. I ain't fucking, like, I'm hustling like everybody else, man. I'm trying to be a baller. I make money. I don't make money. I fucking do what I need to do to pay the bills. And sometimes it's harder than others, right? Sometimes I'm opportunistic. I make opportunity happen when it needs to happen, and working towards it. I mean, as long as I'm doing that, I feel good about that. If you're trying and you're hustling, you should feel like, yeah, you are the shit. I think you should. If you don't feel like you're the shit, you're always gonna kowtow. You're always gonna be defensive. So other people had responded like, fuck him. I can't believe he had the audacity to do that. I was just like, wow. Do you, stuff like that. People were just basically all over. It was totally like bipolarizing. There were conversations in the thread that I was just like, that they were interesting and insightful. So if you want to do some interesting, if you want to get some feedback, you can post stuff like this. Obviously don't be a douche about it. I really didn't know whether or not I was out of line, and or if my feedback was just off, and I did want to get feedback to see what people thought, but I just got a lot more than that. Other stuff that I didn't anticipate was feedback, the sort of feedback that isn't direct. It's kind of indirect feedback. So when you see somebody like somebody's comment, but they didn't say anything themselves, maybe for whatever reason they don't want to piss you off, or they don't want to chime in, but that simple like of another person's comment is suggestive to me as well. So I at least now know who falls on what side of of that line, and that's stuff that's useful, I think, as well. And I don't quite know how to use it just yet, but maybe just to get a little bit more insight as to how a person views things when I'm interacting with them, maybe in the future. And these are like more from like people that might otherwise comment on other stuff you say and not on others, and possibly lurkers that you've seen comment but never talk to you about it at all. So I found that real useful. And then there's people there that are just like, you can tell that they have a, for lack of a better way to describe it, narrower mindset. They want to share how they feel, but they also want to prove you wrong. Like, you are wrong. They want to like stuff shit down your throat. Fuck that. Why? Why are you trying so hard to get me to believe your views? You're never gonna give me money. You're not paying my bills. Like, why do you give a shit what I do? Like, how does it affect you at all, or anybody around you, or how does it impact you at all what I do? That's how I feel about some of those folks. And more than anything, the reason why I'm putting this out there is because if there are things that you don't know, this is one of those ways to do that, is to talk about your experiences and ask for feedback when feasible. But don't go sniffing around looking to poach for profit again. Like, what's the problem that you're struggling with? Leave that shit for your newsletters, for your groups, and for your ads. But to get a sense of people, I think one of the things Colin does is he hangs out at the late night bars and he writes shit. And I think that's real. He listens to like what people are bitching and moaning about, which I find interesting and insightful. This was kind of a way for me to do that, but online. And I just learned a whole lot, and I think you can too, by simply pushing buttons, maybe unintentionally, and getting feedback. But keep your antennas up. Look for the nuances and the ways that these can possibly be useful to you. I hope you found this useful in some way, shape, or form. If you're not a member of the Cult of Copy, make sure you join. That's an awesome group. I'm always learning stuff there. If you're not a member of my group, the Parlay Society, why not join? It's definitely about circumventing competition, figuring out backdoor and side door ways to win in life, in business, in relationships, stuff like that. Talk a bit more high level stuff, I think. Anyway, if you have questions, shoot them to me. If you hated this rant, let me know. If you like it, let me know. I appreciate it. If you'd share it, I'd appreciate it. And if you give me some of your feedback and thoughts, I am thankful. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you next time.